What's going on, guys? RGT85 here, and I said when we hit 50,000 subscribers on this channel I would do a full game room tour, and we blew past 50,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. Thank you guys so much for making this channel successful. Thank you guys so much for helping this channel grow, and this is kind of my thank you to you guys for this. We're gonna go through my entire game room. This will be a very long video. We're gonna go through all the nitty-gritty stuff, so make sure you guys grab a drink, grab you a snack or something, kick back, relax, and enjoy my game room tour as a thank you to you guys. So without any further ado, let's get in here. Down here we have the mini fridge where I keep cold drinks when I'm spending long nights in the game room. It works well, I've had it forever. The sombrero that I don't use enough, and this is actually my duplicate pile. I don't have many duplicates for some reason. I don't know why, I just don't accumulate many. So those are my duplicates. I will be giving those out at a video game con in New Jersey. I don't know when I'm putting this video up, so it may have already happened, but yeah, if you're gonna be at that con, those are the games I'm gonna be giving away. So this is just sort of a random bookshelf of stuff that I've put on here, but I did want to spotlight the Bushwhacked poster. Huge fan of that movie. It's very stupid and cheesy, but I love that movie. But let's look at what we got on this bookshelf. There is some cool stuff on here. You can see on the top row, we have a Harambe, because, you know, it's Harambe. Virtua Cop 2, complete in box. This has the stunner in it, along with Virtua Cop 2. I really like that game. A really cool World of Nintendo figure that somebody sent the channel. I really like this. I really need to get more into those. A Retron 5 box, a Sabu action figure, and the arcade thing for the Nintendo Switch. So that's pretty cool. Looking down at the second shelf, we have the NES Classic Edition box, the Switch box, and then the Akuma Fight Pad for the PS2. I love this thing. Once again, this was something else somebody sent it to the channel, so very cool stuff. Let's check out the other shelves. All right, so on the lower shelves here, we have some Amiibo figures that I have not opened. I am not an Amiibo collector, but I do like these figures. I think they're pretty cool. A 3DS XL box, some little mini mates that somebody sent the show. These are very cool. I like those. The next shelf, we have the NES 30 Classic Edition set box from 8-Bit Dough. The box for the Mega Man Retro Bit controller, a light gun or a light phaser for the Master System complete in box, the Dreamcade, and the Super Mario commemorative golden coin. We have some boxes for some various clone systems down here. I don't really know what to do with them, but I do like to keep the boxes. And this is that cool Genesis that Retro Game Arts sent me. Very insane system. It overclocks and all sorts of stuff, so very cool. And then there's just some assorted toys that you guys have sent me, like Garfield and little Bart Simpson and stuff. So it's pretty much just a random shelf. I actually just put this together the other day because I created more space in the game. So, but yeah, I like how this looks. I like how this came out. So yeah, pretty cool. Over here we have the closet, which has various gaming stuff. We're not going to go in there. It's pretty messy, but there's consoles in there, stuff like the 3DO, stuff like my N64, stuff that, you know, if I need it, I know where it is. And then we have the bookshelf over here. One of the shelves is ripping apart, and I probably need a more traditional thing, but there's like Nintendo Powers, various video game books here, any, you know, book related thing you guys have ever sent me, it's over here. So very cool. I love looking through the old Nintendo Powers and stuff, and yeah. So this is my futon slash couch that I have in here. It does turn into a futon, so sometimes I sleep in here or whatever. Not very often because my bedroom's like right there, but sometimes. I've had this futon for a while. I actually used to use this as a bed at the old place I used to live in. And here's the Retron Duo Portable. This is a giveaway item depending on when you're watching this. The giveaway may still be going on, may not. But yeah, this is kind of just where I sit back, you know, relax and play games. So before we get into that side of the room where all the games are, I do want to show you guys this side of the room and the art stuff on the wall. You can see Double Dragon, Castlevania, Back to the Future. I'm a big Back to the Future fan. I really love that movie. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, Breath of the Wild. This is pretty cool too. I like this Super Street Fighter 2, the new Challengers poster. You know, I don't have a whole lot of posters in here, but I think the ones I have look pretty cool. So that's pretty cool. So here we have a simple Dynex HD TV. I honestly don't use it that much. I'm only in here really playing retro stuff. All my modern consoles are out in the living room. This is pretty much just storage. There's lots of stuff in here. All of the letters you guys have ever sent me is in the top drawer, so don't think I just throw those away or whatnot. We got some stuff up here, the NES Classic, the Retro Bit Generations, plug-and-play consoles, just very basic stuff. You know, there's some Game Boy stuff in here, controllers, pretty much just stuff I don't know where to put ends up in this drawer, or in any of these drawers. My streaming stuff I keep in the bottom drawer, so I know where that's at. Nothing too crazy in here. There's an N64 in here, so I guess it's not in the closet. That's good. But yeah, pretty basic stuff. All right, so here we have the Granddaddy Monster, the 300-pound CRT TV. I love this thing. Obviously, that's what I play most of my consoles on. You see a bunch of random retro consoles here. We'll go through them pretty quickly. We have the Atari Jaguar, which has composite out. I have a custom composite cable. The Sega Saturn, the Dreamcast, the Super Nintendo, which I had to use for a review. The Sega CD-X. I love this system. This is such an awesome system. The PC Engine, CD-ROM, both things in there. It's got the little briefcase attachment on here. The GameCube, the Genesis, and the S-Video modded 32X. That's also from Retro Bit Arts. Just very, very cool stuff. Retro Gaming Arts, excuse me. These are just the main systems I like to play on this television. These are the main systems I'm usually streaming on the channel, so that's why I have them here. Yes, they're not, you know, beautifully set up, but I know where everything is. Maybe one day I'll get into that whole sort of organization thing, but for now, I know where everything is. I know where to grab it and all that stuff, so it works for me. I'm a pretty simplistic person, not too big on cleanliness and whatever, so this totally works for me. You know, if you're an anal person, this is probably driving you crazy though. All right, so the real reason you are probably here is to see what games I own. I'm going to go through them pretty thoroughly for the most part, just, you know, I guess highlighting games that I really like and highlighting games that are maybe a little bit more uncommon, a little bit more rare. As far as NES stuff goes, I don't really have too many heavy hitters on the lineup, but there is a lot of games that I like, so let's check out a few here. So I do have everything alphabetized because I am one of those people and it drives me nuts when games aren't alphabetized. We've got a couple trilogies that I really like. The Batman trilogy. These three games are awesome games. I really enjoy them. We got Battletoads. Next to that, what else do we got that I think is pretty cool? Blaster Master. I think everyone has a copy of Blaster Master. Bomberman. A very important trilogy to me, of course, is the Castlevania trilogy. Excellent, excellent games. I guess even, you know, the second one is pretty legit. Contra, you know, just basic games. This one's a little bit more uncommon. Darkwing Duck. That's an awesome game. If you're a Mega Man fan, I definitely suggest you check it out. Another great trilogy on the NES. I'm pretty big on trilogies on the NES. Double Dragon, the 3 Double Dragon games. Awesome, awesome games. Maybe not so much the third one, but yeah, DuckTales. Here's another good, little bit more expensive game. Felix the Cat. I picked that up from a D of D-Dave at Too Many Games 2016. So that's a cool game. Basic stuff here. Guardian Legend, really underrated game. If you're not familiar with that, make sure you check that out. Definitely gets my seal of approval. A game that I want to learn more about, Journey to Silius. It's not a game that I've played a whole lot, but what I have played, I really like it. Going down to the third shelf, nothing too crazy until we get right here to my most expensive NES game, and this is Metal Storm. Space Mannequin, who you probably have seen in Aaron Kosharski streams if you ever watch those. He hooked me up with this for a really, really good price. This is by far my most expensive NES game, which is why it's in this little protective case. So thank you, Space Mannequin. I really appreciate that, dude. It is in a good home. Of course, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, the real Punch-Out. If you claim the other Punch-Out is real, you're just a liar. Nightshade, you guys know I love this game. Very awesome and unique game on the NES. Yet another trilogy of games. Ninja Gaiden. Super hard. I've never beaten a Ninja Gaiden. I probably never will. but hey, they're fun to play, aren't they? Alright, and rounding out the NES stuff, we have some more good games. Snake, Rattle, and Roll. That's a really fun game. I'm glad more people are paying attention to that game because it's really good. Super C, of course, the Mario Brothers trilogy, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trilogy. These are in here a little bit tight, so I won't take them out. But all 3 Turtles games right here. Anything else really cool in here? Not particularly. I do like these. Of course, these are the Legend of Zelda games. I recently upgraded these to a more crispy gold. You know, I wanted some crispy ass gold on my Zelda games, so I did upgrade them. My very small Famicom exclusive collection, Kid Dracula. If you don't own Kid Dracula, buy Kid Dracula. It's so good. And this is a weird, I forget the name of it. It's like Waku Waku or something. It's a mix between different Konami franchises. I haven't really had a chance to play it yet, but I do want to play it. We have some Amiibo here. Lil Mac, Mario, Shovel Knight, Chibi Robo, Fox, Midna, and the Wolf from Twilight Princess. So those are pretty cool. Like I said, I don't really do much with Amiibo, but whatever. Couple controllers here from Gamers Tech, Famicom style. I really like these, and that's kind of why I haven't opened them, because I really like the box and I like the way they look. We have a little Mario there, a World of Nintendo figure, the custom case to RGT 85, the video game, which is available through John Riggs. Make sure you check out his Etsy store. It's a hack of a time zone, I think it's called, on the Famicom. Really cool. Little Stubbins plushie, an extra cadet controller for the NES. This is actually a really comfortable controller. A couple boxed games here. Mickey Mania for the Super Nintendo, and a very beat up Super Castlevania 4, but still complete in box. And the classic NES Game Boy Advance, which I think is really cool. I really like that. So the next we have Super Nintendo stuff. So let me adjust the camera and we'll get down to the SNES. So when it comes to the Super Nintendo, once again, I don't really have many heavy hitters. These are pretty much just games I really like Alien vs. Predator, which is an awesome game. Batman Returns, which is an awesome game, and a very fun beat 'em up that not enough people really talk about. This is, of course, is the heavy hitter, Dracula X. I do love that game to death. Just some basic stuff here. The Final Fantasy series, you know, I do enjoy those games. They're pretty awesome. A beat-ass copy of Final Fight, but I got it for cheap. I'm not big, you know, I don't really care about label damage and stuff like that. It doesn't really bother me too much. Of course, Link to the Past, you know, that's pretty much a staple. I actually don't own Metroid, Super Metroid, which is a shame, but I don't know what happened to it. Couple Street Fighter titles here. Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and Street Fighter 2 Alpha, or Street Fighter Alpha 2. If I could talk, I'd be dangerous. And of course, we have all the Super games, Super Street Fighter 2, classic Turtles in Time with the actual price that I paid from an EB Games of $15 back in the day. And yeah, that's pretty much all of the cool games. There's a really dingy copy of Zoop. And then I have a decent amount of Super Famicom games, surprisingly. I just seem to have collected these. ActRaiser, Super Donkey Kong Country 3, a Goman game, Rockman X, which of course is Mega Man X, Samurai Spirits, Super Fire Pro 2. Samurai Spirits, of course, is Samurai Showdown. And World Heroes. I believe this is Super Mario All-Stars, Super Mario Kart, and Super Fire Pro Wrestling X. So yeah, I don't really do a whole bunch of import stuff, but you know, there is some cool imports on the Super Nintendo, and a lot of import games on the Super Nintendo are actually, or the Super Famicom, are cheaper than their Super Nintendo counterparts. So it's definitely something to look out for. N64 stuff is next. I don't know. I just have basic N64 stuff. There's a couple random games that I just pulled out. Like I said, all of these are alphabetized and whatnot. And of course, none of them have end labels. Of course, Bomberman 64, which is a classic. Let's see what else. Excite Bike, Duke Nukem 64. FPS games were really fun on the N64. I mean, of course, GoldenEye with some GameStop stickers on it. Your two Zeldas. I don't have the holographic one for this one. I did have it as a child, but here's a really cool copy of Killer Instinct Gold. That's clean, baby. That's clean. But it was cheap. And I'm a cheap man, so we got Mario Kart 64, of course. Basic stuff. Mischief Makers, total hidden gem on the system. Although it is becoming much more popular. That's a treasure game. Here's a game I really like. Mission Impossible. I think this is a very fun game. It hasn't really held up very well, but I still think it's a really fun game. Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Stadium. You know, you got to have your Pokemon games on the N64. What else do we got here? Some Turok, Star Soldier, Star Fox, just basic stuff. Good game here, classic. That was one of the most mind-blowing games when I was a kid. Of course, you got to have Super Mario 64. This belonged to Noah Aranda. Noah, thanks for writing your name on it like a little dick. And yeah, we just have some more N64 games, wrestling games, War Gods, just a bunch of random stuff. It's so hard to show off all the N64 games because, God forbid, they put some damn end labels on them. But yeah, so this is pretty much the old school Nintendo section. We start out with GameCube on the next row, so let's get into that. End labels and cover art make this so much easier. So going into the GameCube stuff, we got a couple classics here. Of course, Eternal Darkness, excellent game. Geist, a game that I really enjoy. Not a whole lot of people enjoy this game, but it's definitely one of my favorite on the system. Godzilla Destroy All Monsters is another good game. Killer 7, Suda51 at his probably craziest. Really weird game. It's kind of hard to get into, but I really like it. This is always cool, you know, the promotional thing that's got the 4 Zelda games on it. Luigi's Mansion, Metal Gear Solid, Twin Snakes, awesome game. Here was a cool game that was really sort of underrated, PN number 3. It was a weird Capcom exclusive for the GameCube, but I really like it. Skies of Arcadia Legends, excellent Dreamcast game ported to the GameCube. We got some Sonic stuff, some Star Wars stuff, Super Mario Sunshine, a pretty polarizing game. Here's a very fun game that I like. Terminator 3 Redemption. A lot of people, you know, think that there's not any good Terminator games. This is a very challenging game, but it's also very fun. And moving on, we get into the Wii section. I have a lot of Wii stuff for some reason, but let's take a look at some Wii games. When it comes to the Wii, I have a lot of Wii games. They're pretty cheap to collect for. We'll start over here. This is a really good game, Batman the Brave and the Bold. Very underrated Wii title. I believe that was in my Wii Hidden Gems video, actually. The Call of Duty games, Centipede Infestation, another underrated game. Both of those, the Batman and Centipede, are made by WayForward Studios, who did Shantae. So you know, if you see WayForward, they're probably a good game. Moving on, got the Conduit 1 and 2, Deadliest Creatures, a really weird game, but a really fun game where you play as bugs, or you play as a scorpion and a spider. Ghostbusters, one of my favorite games on the system. I really like this version of the game. Godfather, the Black Hand Edition. I love throwing people into like furnaces and stuff. Of course, we have the 2 House of the Dead games. Light gun games really got sort of a resurgence on the Wii because of the controller itself. Klonoa, classic game, remastered for the Wii. Both Zelda games, of course, Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess. Never finished Skyward Sword. It's the only Zelda game I have never beaten. Well, mainline Zelda game that I've never beaten. I probably never will. Manhunt 2, heavily neutered, but still a fun game. a game that I like and nobody else likes, Metroid. Maramusa, the Demon Blade, really underrated game. 3 games back to back to back that I really enjoy. Knights, Obscure, The Aftermath, and Pandora's Tower. We got a little Super Mario Brothers in there. We have an upside down copy of Punch-Out! I hate finding stuff like that. It drives me nuts. This is a really good game. The Street Fighter or Samurai Showdown Anthology. If you're a fighting fan, that's a really good game. Sin and Punishment, another really good game. There's so many good games like on the Wii, and people like to talk so much junk about it, but I always thought it was an awesome system. Like, and there are good games for it. There's just a lot of crap for it as well. Tatsunoko versus Capcom, another excellent game. Those are pretty much the highlights of my Wii collection, and of course the final highlight would have to be, if it wants to come out, Xenoblade Chronicles. This is the original printing of it, not the GameStop version. So moving on, we have the Wii U next, another system that I think is really underrated. Tons of awesome games on here. My favorite version of Arkham City, the Armored Edition, played that game to completion, loved it. Deus Ex, this is still sealed. I have a digital copy that I got as a review code. Really awesome game. Hyrule Warriors, of course, once again, both Zelda titles. What else do we got here? Really overlooked launch title for the game, Ninja Gaiden, pretty sweet. This is pretty cool. The big box comes with the CD, half genie, half hero, Shantae. Really fun game. Splatoon, of course. Super Mario 3D World, Mario Maker. Xenoblade Chronicles X, another awesome game. And then we move into Switch stuff, which is quickly growing in my collection. So let's take a look at that. So the Switch boxes are super tiny, but I do kind of like that. We got The Binding of Isaac, Cave Story, Has Been Heroes, I Am Setsuna, Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Puyo Puyo Tetris, Splatoon 2, Super Bomberman R. And Street Fighter's over in the back corner there. So not, nothing too crazy on the Switch. It is a newer system, but I do like collecting the physical for the system. Not too many Game Boy and Virtual Boy games. They are in that drawer that I showed you earlier, but these are a couple boxed ones that I have. 2 imports on the Virtual Boy, Panic Bomber and Vertical Force, both excellent games. And this is actually something I have been actively collecting recently, and that is all of the Game Boy Advance NES Classic series. There's 10 in the series. I have 5 right now. I actually have another one on the way, so that's something that's coming along nicely. Just a nice little weird collection of things, but I want them all boxed, so that's what I'm going for right now. The Metroid is actually sealed. This is an original copy that I got when I worked at GameStop. That's an original price tag. So yeah, pretty cool. Nice little collection. And then, of course, we move on to the DS, which is an awesome system. We've got a lot of titles here. 9 persons, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 rooms, which is an excellent game. Alien Infestation, another really good game. We've got a little Castlevania. That's the only Castlevania game I own on the DS, but that's also my favorite. Dementium 1 and 2, which are backwards. And for some reason, they don't even belong here. Cop and Chibi Robo. Chibi Robo should go here. I swear, there's like a gremlin that comes into my game room and like moves around my stuff, and it drives me literally insane. Dragon Quest, just some basic titles. Here is a game that is very underrated. The most underrated game on the system, and that is Fighting Fantasy, The Warlock of Firetop Mountain. If you do not own this game, you need to own this game. This game is awesome, and I really love it, and it's one of the biggest hidden gems on the platform. Chinatown Wars, another classic. Let me reposition the camera and we'll check out some more stuff. So we're in the heart of the DS handheld stuff right now. We've got Nano Stray, really good series. I really enjoyed those games. Orcs and Elves, Phantasy Star Zero, which was a game I played a ton online. Had so much fun with that game, honestly. We got some more stuff over here, a little Sonic, Tecmo Bowl, Super Mario 64 DS. This is actually a pretty fun first-person game. Terracia, really interesting, really dark game. I really like it though. And then we move into 3DS stuff. I have a lot of 3DS stuff. This is a really cool one, of course. the Azure Striker pack. This is actually pretty rare to have the lenticular slipcover on it, so that's pretty cool. We got some Fire Emblem, Dragon Quest, Hyrule Warriors, Final Fantasy Explorers, just all sorts of stuff. Planet Robobot. I love this game. It's Michael Jackson. Who doesn't love Michael Jackson? Moving on, Resident Evil Revelations. This is a really good game too. The 3D classics. Play all those classic Sega games in 3D. The game I have played the most on this system though is Street Fighter 4. Love that version of the game. So much fun. And it's so weird because you got games like Street Fighter 4, Tekken, and Dead or Alive like right at launch, but then you never really got anything else in the world of fighting games except for, you know, Smash Brothers. So really weird, really interesting. Show you guys a couple more games here. Virtue's Last Reward. This is in the 999 universe, so that's cool. And yeah, that's pretty much the DS, 3DS stuff. We've covered all of the Nintendo stuff. Now we're gonna move to Sega. All right, so starting things off, we have some Master System titles. I actually don't own a Master System. It's one of the few consoles I don't own, but I do have the whatchamacallit, the Power Base Mini from Stone Age Gamer. Double Dragon, amazing version of Double Dragon, by far my favorite, because it's like the NES one, but it's like the NES one combined with the arcade one, which is just beautiful in my opinion. Nothing too crazy. A little Wonder Boy on the Master System. Nothing really too hectic. And then we move into Genesis stuff. Aladdin, of course, that's a classic. Bloodlines, one of the more pricey Genesis games I own. Little Double Dragon, Earthworm Jim 1 and 2. Garfield, Caught in the Act. Love this game. Super good graphics. Really an underrated and underappreciated game on the console. Another pricey one. Go in there, Garfield. God, there's lasagna. Gunstar Heroes. Definitely starting to get up there in price, along with this game, Haunting, starring Poltergeist. Back when EA, you know, was actually innovative and made, you know, interesting games and not just recycled crap. Light Crusader, this is a really cool game that I actually learned about from a Metal Jesus episode that John Hancock was on. He recommended this game, and it's still pretty cheap, and it's a really, really good game. I really enjoy it. Along with this game, I think I got this game from that same episode, Jewel Master, another really good Genesis game. That's the weird thing about Genesis. There was a lot of early releases that like nobody seems to remember or talk about. Sports titles, random crap, Quackshot, gotta love Quackshot. That's a super good game. Shining in the Darkness, yeah, love the Shining series. Shinobi and Socket. Socket's really underrated. People always give Socket a bunch of crap, but I think it's a really good game. Sonic, of course, Street Fighter, Streets of Rage 2. Not for resale, but I bought it from someone, so that's dicey. Thunder Force, an excellent shmup series. Love Thunder Force. And yeah, I guess we'll end the Genesis stuff with Zero Tolerance, an awesome first-person shooter for the Genesis. So yeah, that's my modest Genesis collection. Next, we'll look at the Sega CD and the 32X, which is a complete collection because I have problems. So the Sega CD is a system that I actually like. I always wanted one as a kid, but we were kind of poor, so we couldn't afford it. Nothing too crazy in this lineup right here. That's the only bad thing about these shelves, is they don't fit Sega CD games and Sega Saturn games well. But you can see, you know, Chuck Rock 2, that's a decent game. Echo the Dolphin, NBA Jam. And then moving on, we have some better titles over here. So we've got a couple pricey games in here. Sonic CD starting to get up there in price. Robo Elise is getting really expensive in price. I actually got this from 64-Bit for Life for really cheap, and he's mad that he sold it to me for cheap. Rise of the Dragon, a very underrated game on the console. If you like Snatcher, you will like Rise of the Dragon. Just, you know, basic stuff. I don't get too crazy with the Sega CD stuff. There are a couple more games I do want to show you, though. Now, this may look like random junk to you, but The Terminator is actually an awesome, awesome game. If you own a Sega CD, you need The Terminator. Amazing music, really fun gameplay, and just a really fun game overall. So that's my Sega CD stuff. pretty limited, but I feel like I have most of the games I really want, aside from like Snatcher and Lunar, which are, you know, hella expensive or whatever. But moving on, we have the complete 32X collection, and we're just gonna quickly go through that stuff because nobody really cares about the 32X. So this is by far the most expensive game in my collection, Spider-Man Web of Fire. It is a very limited release for the 32X. It was the last game released. Rumor has it there's only about 1,700 copies that exist. I got this copy for $300 at Too Many Games, which is way more than I wanted to pay, but I wanted the complete 32X collection. There's not really that many great games for it. You know, there's a couple decent games. You know, I think Doom is pretty solid on it. Blackthorn is pretty solid on it as well. You have Knuckles Chaotic and Calibri, but for the most part, not really that much. I just wanted a complete set of something. This was the crown jewel of it, and I'm glad that I have the complete set of it because, I don't know, I have problems. So before we get into the Saturn stuff, which is an important part of my collection, and the Dreamcast stuff, I'm sure you guys wanted to sort of go over what was up here. We have Super Meat Boy, the boxed edition from Indie Box. That's a really cool service. Mighty Number 9, I don't hate the game, so get over it. Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris Gold Edition. This is a PAL exclusive, so that's pretty cool. Zelda Chess Set, the best NES game in the world. RGT 85, the video game. I'm just kidding, but it is pretty fun. Haunted Halloween 86, a Zelda puzzle. Box Game Genie, the arcade, which has a bunch of Bible games on a plug-and-play NES controller. Xenoblade Chronicles, the limited edition version of it. I really loved that game, so I picked that up, and it never likes to stay. And it's okay, there we go. Cool little painting from Square Painter. Very awesome guy. I love Square Painter. Have my babies. This is the Genesis Model 2 that came bundled with Sonic 2. I bought this because this is what I received for Christmas back in 90, God, I guess it was 93. This was my first brand new console, so I just bought that. A box for the 32X because I am a 32X collector, a piece of shit, and the box for the Ghosts and Goblins Retrobit NES controller. So that's just shit. Come on. Come on. Yeah! Yeah, we saved it. Alright, so that is just the stuff that's up top. Now let's get into the games. Alright, so this section of the video I'll probably be talking the most because there's a lot of awesome Saturn games that were only available on the Saturn. Clockwork Knight 2, I still need to get a custom cover for that, but that's a super awesome game. Darius Gaiden. This was actually a random pickup off of Goodwill's auction site. I got it for 30 bucks. I did not know it was complete. We have, of course, Die Hard Arcade, which is one of my favorite games on the console. Super, super awesome game. Very fun. Fighters Mega Mix, arguably one of the best fighters. I do prefer Virtua Fighter slightly over it, but, you know, it could go either way, definitely. I got some crap. This is actually a really impressive game visually. Manix TT, it's an arcade racer. Of course, I passed by Daytona USA. Daytona! I'm sure you guys were waiting for that. 2 of the Panzer Dragoon games, the original and Panzer Dragoon 2 with a custom case. You save a lot of money on Saturn stuff if you're willing to just go disc only or buy one that comes with a custom case. Here's a pricey one, Resident Evil. That's really shot up in price recently. Pretty crazy, actually. Here's another pricey game. This has a custom case on it, but it is the actual game. Love this RPG. I wish the other parts would have came out stateside, but you're definitely talking triple digits there. Another pricey one, Sonic Jam. I got this for pretty cheap. If you watch my Sega Saturn collecting tips video, you can learn how I got that for pretty cheap. Street Fighter Alpha 2. Love that game. And Alpha 1 is there next to it. And this is actually a pricey game because of it's a long box. And I actually didn't know that a long box for this existed. I bought this on a whim. I just wanted the actual game. I expected it to come in a sleeve. And instead I got the long box. And the long box is really sought after. So yeah, I have a lot of people hit me up about that. And I'll probably have people hit me up about that now. And X-Men Children of the Atom. I used to rent a Sega Saturn and play X-Men Children of the Atom for hours and hours and hours. We got some Japanese games. Deep Fear. Really Sega's answer to Resident Evil. Super fun game. This wrestling game that I talked about in my wrestling video, I really like it. What else? House of the Dead. I'm not paying nearly $200 for freaking House of the Dead. So yeah, that's pretty much the Saturn stuff. Moving on, we have Dreamcast. Lots of great games on the Dreamcast as well. D2, one of my favorites on the system. Dynamite Cop, which is the sequel to Die Hard Arcade. It was originally Dynamite Deca or something like that. Grandia 2, love this RPG. Super fantastic game. Marvel vs. Capcom, of course, that's another classic. Then we have, of course, the best game on the system, in my opinion, Shenmue. And yeah, Soul Calibur, just a lot of random stuff. Got some Japanese titles. So next we're going to look at the PS1 and PS2 stuff, which is pretty much a lot of garbage, but nah, there's some decent titles in there. So my PS1 collection is admittedly pretty limited. Gran Turismo 2, Symphony of the Night, of course, excellent Castlevania game. But yeah, I really just don't collect that much for the system. The real hidden gem of the of the PS1, Masters of Terras Kasi. This is a really fun game. Tobal 1, I really enjoyed that game. But yeah, nothing too crazy on the system, and it's pretty much like that with the PS2 as well, which I'll show you guys here now. So for whatever reason, even though the PS2 is very cheap to collect for, I just never really got into it. I do have some titles here that I really like. Fire Pro Wrestling Returns, which is an excellent game. The one of the best football games ever. Still amazing to this day. We got some cool stuff though, like Kengo, a very underrated samurai game that my buddy Keertoons put me on. The Metal Gear Essentials collection. You gotta have that. It's essential. Here's one that's a little bit pricey. Resident Evil Dead Aim. I'm a big fan of the spin-off Resident Evil games. Silent Hill Origins, I really love the intro to this game. It has one of my favorite video game songs of all time on it. And I don't know, there's a lot of random stuff. But this game is actually not that bad. I actually had a good time playing that game for the most part. And this is a game I was really disappointed in. I love New York City. I was hoping they would do a good job replicating New York City, but they didn't. They didn't. So yeah, that pretty much winds it up for the PlayStation stuff. For the PS2 stuff, we're going to move on to PS3 and PS4 next. Alright, so before we get into the final shelf, I just wanted to show you guys some of the stuff that's up here. I had this signed by Sabu when I met him back in, I want to say it was 2005. We got some wrestling figures here. Chris Sabin autograph, Christopher Daniels autograph, Scott Steiner autograph. I met all of those dudes, very cool dudes. This is a GameCube Wii U controller from Japan. This is an Oyua controller because I don't really know. Just some random boxes, Big Box Knights, which is really cool. I really like this little Pixel Pal thing from Zelda, Legend of Zelda, and the Power Base Mini, which has glitter on it from a glitter bomb package I opened. And of course the Virtual Boy. I have two of these. This is the one I usually play. So yeah, just a little quick look at what goes on up here, and we'll get into the final bookshelf of games. So starting things off, we have the PS3 and PS4 stuff. I don't really collect a whole lot of stuff for this system. Alpha Protocol is a game I actually really enjoy. Fun game, really underrated I feel. Beyond Two Souls, we got some Castlevania Collection, Lords of Shadow. I actually liked that game. Condemned 2, which used to have a really fun online infrastructure. Metal Gear Solid 4, Metal Gear Solid the HD Collection, just standard stuff. Resident Evil 6, Shadows of the Damned, really fun game, Grasshopper game. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't really do a whole lot of PS3 stuff. I'm trying to get into it more, but you know, PS4, once again, not something I really collect for a lot. Doom is one of my favorite games on the platform, along with Earth Defense Force 4.1, another really good game that I think everyone should have. It's very cheap, and probably two of my favorite games on the system are, you son of a gun, Republic and Shadow Complex, which is my one limited run game that I own. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the for the PlayStation stuff. Like I said, not a huge collector of it. Moving down, we have some Xbox titles, which I am starting to get into more. You've seen most of these if you watch my Xbox video. Panzer Dragoon Orta, of course, amazing game. Shenmue 2, another must-own. Jade Empire, which is a game I've actually been playing recently. Really fun game, honestly. So, yeah, just basic stuff. We have 3DO stuff. I don't care about the 3DO. This is the only game I care about, which is Street Fighter, which is actually in the 3DO as we speak. Moving on, we have some Atari 2600 and 7800 stuff. You gotta have ET. You know, it's not that bad. It's not great, but you know, it's not bad. Pac-Man, Star Raiders, Warlords, 7800 stuff, Food Fight, which I recently picked up. Centipede, Dig Dug. I kind of like the 7800. I think it's a pretty cool system. Moving down, we have some more stuff. So let me adjust the camera and we can see the final stuff in the collection. All right, so this is it. We're pretty much winding down. We have Joust, Galaga, pole position on the 7800. We have some Atari Jaguar games. You know, standard stuff. I have Alien vs. Predator, but it's actually in the system right now. Theme Park. I don't know why. I really like Theme Park. You know, basic games, nothing too crazy. Probably one of the best games on the system is Tempest 2000. Moving on, we've got my small PC Engine collection that I am working on growing. We have this, which is quintessential. Excellent reproduction. And it's kind of upside down now that I notice it. We got some little R-Type action. One of the best games on the system, Street Fighter 2. I'm working on a video with John Hancock on that right now. So yeah, just, you know, some basic stuff, Fire Pro Wrestling, a game that I didn't know I needed the arcade card for, which costs an arm and a leg. We got some homebrew projects here and new releases, Haunted Halloween 85, Sweet Home. We've got Super Back to the Future 2, which is an awesome SNES game. A couple more SNES games. This is really cool. I love this. Completely playable, completely finishable. Awesome, awesome game. And yeah, that really wraps it up. There's one stack of stuff here, but we're not going to talk about that because that's for an upcoming video. We have a random 32X here that I'll put in front of it. And there's a Sonic Mania Collector's Edition, slightly off screen. But let's go ahead and wrap this up. All right, and that is my game room tour for 50,000 subscribers. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it didn't go on too long, overstay its welcome, or get kind of boring. I just want to say thank you because honestly, 50,000 subscribers is an insane number. I never thought I would get there. But, you know, I'm glad that, you know, that many people find my videos either entertaining or informative or whatever the reason you watch. I'm just glad that you watch. So thank you for watching this video. I had fun making it. It was a lot of work, honestly, but it was definitely worth it. And I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I enjoyed making it. So thank you for checking it out. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit that like button, share this video around, and I'll catch you guys next time. Later.
RGT 85. RGT 85. RGT 85.